Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Apopka High School welcomes you to Joe Sterling Gymnasium for game number 17 out of 20 here at the 9th annual Metro vs. Florida Challenge, presented by Bernvat Orlando and St. Germain Chiropractic Clinic. Please welcome our guests wearing the red jerseys, visitors on the scoreboard from Lake Brantley High School. They are the Patriots. And wearing the white jerseys, home on the scoreboard, representing the Orlando Metro Conference from Timber Creek High School, please welcome the Wolves. Let's meet the teams. We'll begin with our guests from Lake Brantley, and we'll start at point guard with 6-foot junior number 0, Isaac Ogando. At forward, 6'4" senior number 1, Jaquan Jackson. At shooting guard, 6'1" senior number 3, Julian Stewart. At guard, 5'11" senior number 13, Sparky Fabre. And finally for the Patriots, at shooting guard and small forward, 6'1" sophomore, number 33, Declan McFadden. And the head coach of the Patriots in his 15th year at Lake Brantley, Mr. Mike Cuff. And now let's meet the Timber Creek Wolves, starting at point guard, 5'7" junior number 2, Cameron Hall. At small forward, 6'4" senior number 3, Devontae Gilbert. At point guard, 5'9" senior number 4, Isaias Ruiz Diaz. At shooting guard, 6'3" junior number 5, Connor Racio. And finally for the Wolves, at shooting guard, 6' junior number 10, Dylan Holloman. The officials for this afternoon's game are from the Central Florida Officials Association here in Orlando. Today's game, like all of our games here at the Metro vs. Florida Challenge, is being live streamed. You can catch it online on our YouTube channel, Metro vs. Florida Challenge. You can also get links to the live feed as well as live play-by-play stats on our website, metrovsfl.com. That's also where you can download a free full-color copy of the program. Again, metrovsfl.com. Make sure your friends and family know if they are back in Wekiva, if they are back on the other side of town near Timber Creek, or anywhere else in the world. You can watch online all day today. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Joe Sterling Gymnasium for the 17th of 20 times here at the 9th annual Metro vs. Florida Challenge. An anemic jump ball there. That goes on the blooper reel. And Neil, we're approaching the home stretch here as we head into game number 17. My name is Mark Barchi. I am the media director for the Metro vs. Florida Challenge. I am joined by Neil Fisher of the Apopka Chief, and Dylan Holloman gets us started with a 2.
Yeah, again, Mark, another game. We're almost done here. We'll explain in a minute what the purpose of the Metro vs. Florida Challenge is.
Julian Stewart adds a 3 to get the Patriots on the board.
But as we get started here, a minute into this ball game, again, each team represents either the Metro Conference, which is all the schools located in Orange County, or the what we call the Florida contingency. Those are the schools outside. Lake Brantley, of course, being in Seminole County, Altamonte Springs is outside the Metro Conference.
So that's actually kind of the great irony, is that the quote-unquote home team, the Metro team, is quite a bit farther away from Apopka than Lake Brantley is.
Yeah, that is.
Lake Brantley is probably about 15 minutes away. Timber Creek is way on the other corner of the county.
Yeah, and it's actually, for me personally, to school that I'm at least athletically.
Cameron Hall for 3 on the pass from Isaias Ruiz Diaz.
So, yeah, I'm at least, I guess, say athletic, at least as far as what it looks like. I'm familiar because I live about half a mile from Lake Brantley.
Jai Jackson is fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 5, Connor Racio. That's his first, the team's first.
Yeah, so just to give you an idea, that's why I brought up, I live about half a mile from Lake Brantley in Orange County. But I'm about a good 30 minutes or maybe even 40 from Timber Creek. But as we get started here, both these teams are schools that throughout their history, or at least recent history, I'd say in the last 10 to 12 years, have for the most part probably about 7 or 8 seasons at least contend to finish first or second in the district championship tournament, which of course once you do that you then advance, you earn a berth into the FHSAA postseason tournament. Neither school really is one of those teams that you think of when you think of the school. You think of basketball first and foremost, like some of these other schools such as Evans, Jones, Leesburg.
Foul is called against number 3, Julian Stewart is first, the team's first.
Some of the other schools such as Auburndale, Leesburg, Jones, Evans, even to a degree Wekiva or Apopka, but nonetheless they have had solid winning records of at least 550 for most of that stretch over the last 10-12 seasons, while contending to earn the berth past the district championship tournament.
Conoricio with the putback for the Wolves. So that was an interesting exchange there between the Wolves and the Patriots, as Recio ultimately won it on a second consecutive putback. And here we got nice speed here by Sparky Fabre down the baseline for the Patriot layup.
So Lake Brantley comes in 12-14 last year. Again, as I said, it is a bit on the disappointing side, as usually they win 16-17 games, around at least 55% of their games. They are doing very well. They have seem to have turned around some of their problems last year. They're 11-5. And, of course, Mike Cuff is well known in Florida high school basketball circles in his 15th year.
Sparky Fabre with a long two-point jumper for the Patriots.
Lake Brantley comes out of District 9A2.
Cameron Hall gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against number 13, Sparky Fabre. That's his first and the team's second.
And last note here on Lake Brantley is they have actually, at least through 16 games, performed this turnaround with only 2 players returning. That's senior Sparky Fabre. He is senior 5'11" guard, and junior Isaac Ogando, 6 feet tall junior and a point guard.
So the Cameron Hall makes good on the three-point play, and that will put the Wolves on top 10-9. And Neil, I think we have seen some uncharacteristically great games. Not to say that all the games at Metro versus Florida aren't good, but I think we've saved the best for last year.
As we get later into this final day.
Julian Stewart is called on the block. Foul, or checking into the game for him is number 11, Sebastian Dager.
So looking at Timber Creek, the Metro Conference representative, they've also had a very nice turnaround. Looking at the record, you can see that. They were 10-16 last year. They're 13-4 this year. And, of course, head coach David Bailey's in his 6th year. They did return 4 starters, and they come out of a very tough district, 9A4. We've talked throughout this tournament, and in particular on Saturday, about 9A3. Because, of course, as the regular broadcasters, announcers who cover Wekiva, we're very familiar with 9A3. You have Wekiva, Evans, West Orange, and Apopka, the host team here. And I like to call it the rough and tumble, or the give no quarter, take no quarter district. But you can really say the same for 9A3, of course. That is Winter Park and Colonial. We'll see Winter Park in the nightcap. The last game, finally, we just saw Colonial.
And a nice work there with a block by Jai Jackson, who also gets the rebound.
So one thing that can be said about Timber Creek, it might be at a disadvantage in the district, but it certainly prepares the team for the FHSAA postseason tournament if they can get past the district championship tournament.
Jackson to Dager for the Patriot basket. Answered with a 3 from Cameron Hall.
And the one thing I'm noticing about Lake Brantley right off the bat here, as we're about 5 minutes into the ball game, is they've always been a very good three-point shooting team under Coach Cuff, and that is certainly continuing. They're creating three-point field goal attempts, and they're converting them at a really good clip as well.
Gilbert on the pass to Holloman for 3, and we'll pause here for a timeout. We've got a 30-second timeout requested by Lake Brantley, and we'll take this opportunity to thank our signature sponsor for the Metro versus Florida Challenge, Burn Fat Orlando, who challenges you to lose up to 30 to 40 pounds. And they're so confident in their program, they'll offer you a money-back guarantee. If you haven't lost weight in the first 10 days, they'll refund your money. Give them a call at 855-889-THIN. That's 855-889-THIN to get the tools and guidance you need to achieve better health and your weight loss goals with an inviting atmosphere, friendly staff, and personalized programs that will get you fast results with real nutrition. Burn Fat Orlando, 855-889-THIN. Three seconds in the key.
So as I mentioned, Mark, actually Lake Brantley is not shooting the ball nearly as well as I thought at the three-point range, but they are shooting it well at two-point range. They're 3 of 6. Timber Creek has gotten off to a good start as well, 3 of 7.
Anthony Figueroa, 4-3 on the pass from Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz.
However, the difference is Timber Creek has also made 4 of 7 trays now as well, and taking that 19 to 11. Lake Brantley is only 1 of 5. Both teams with 7 rebounds, and free throw shooting really has not come into play. Lake Brantley 2 of 2, Timber Creek 1 of 1. So as we get under 2 minutes left here, opportunity for Timber Creek to open up a 10-point lead, actually 11. And again, three-point shooting, lights out, 5 of 9 for Timber Creek.
Three-point basket by Cameron Hall. And just like that, Timber Creek, look at that, up to a 2-1 advantage here, 22 to 11.
Yeah, again, four field goals have been made, a difference of 4 field goals made by Timber Creek. That's a 12-point advantage.
Block is called against Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz, his first, the team's second.
So again, 12-point differential and 3-point field goals, and what do you know? We have an 11-point lead by Timber Creek.
So Belter comes into the game for the Patriots. That gives Ogando a break.
So Lake Brantley has opened up in man-to-man defense, and again, it's paid them dividends inside the 2-point lane. They just can't get the 3-point shots. Timber Creek has lived and died so far, more so by living with that 3-point field goal attempt.
Wolves foul called against number 22. Michael Brown is first, the team's third.
Both teams have moved the ball well here with their passing. That's something we have not seen in all the games here. Good, crisp, clean passes. And Lake Brantley, and again, something that's become very familiar with the Mike Cup coach team. They are a patient team when it comes to the passing game. They are willing to make those extra passes, and they are willing to operate out of half-court sets as well.
Foul is called against number 2, Cameron Hall, his first, the team's fourth. Five seconds under guard, Wolves ball. So give a steal there to Anthony Figueroa for making that happen.
Yeah, hard work there, not letting his defender get loose. And that is the first turnover of the game for the Patriots. Unfortunately, it might be a big one because you might be looking at a 13 or even 14-point difference here. Now, Jaquan Jackson holding on to the ball here for that last shot, and we're going to get it and drain it.
Anthony Figueroa for 3 on the pass from Gilbert. Three at the buzzer won't go, and that takes us to the end of the first quarter, and it is a 25-11 ball game as the Wolves explode late in the first periods to get a 14-point advantage as we head into the second 8 minutes here in Game 17 of the 9th annual Metro versus Florida Challenge. We'll take this opportunity to thank our friends at St. Germain Chiropractic. With the best non-invasive healthcare services in the Central Florida, Orlando area, they can help you with back and neck pain, headaches, any kind of pain that stems from an auto accident or a slip and fall, or perhaps musculoskeletal conditions. They accept most insurance, so when in pain, call St. Germain. And the Patriots have the opening possession of the second period.
So again, as we get into the second quarter, the difference has been 3-point field goal shooting. Timber Creek is just getting open shots.
Cameron Hall.
So they were 6 of 9. They're still 6 of 9. That's an incredible 2/3, 66%. But they're also equally doing as well, just shooting the ball from 2-point range, now 4 of 8. Lake Brantley is holding with them at 3 of 6 and 2-point, but their 3-point field goal stroke has left them only 1 of 7. Both teams with 7 rebounds, and very impressive, only 2 turnovers have been committed, both by Lake Brantley. But again, those 2 turnovers resulted in good looks from Treyland and conversions, and that's 6 points right there. So again, you're looking at a 5-point differential in field goals made, and we have a 16-point lead. That's 15 points difference in a 16-point lead.
Held ball, possession, Patriots.
So again, during that break, during the timeout, I could hear Coach Cuff talking to his team about being aware of the 3-point field goal attempts. I heard him, I couldn't tell exactly what he was saying, but I did hear him mention a couple of times we got to stop those 3-point field goal looks. And I also heard him ask one of his assistant coaches how many were made by Timber Creek.
Why do you try to say it if it's going this way?
So neither team able to convert here. Outside of the that field goal, that layup came off of transition.
Almost got in there, thought better of it. Emilio Thomas is fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2 for the Wolves. Foul is called against Patriots number 1. Jai Jackson is first, the team's 4th.
So again, both teams had below average seasons for them, disappointing seasons. The records were actually under 500. They were both eliminated in their district championship tournament. Both have made nice turnarounds looking at the records. Timber Creek 13-4, Lake Brantley 11-5.
It's 1 of 2.
And I bring all that up because we have a 17-point lead here, only 2 minutes into the second quarter. Timber Creek has just been far superior in creating open looks from the 3-point range.
Push is called against Michael Brown, his second, the team's 5th.
Go, Nick, go, Nick.
So we've seen this as far as a big lead being established by one of the teams throughout this whole tournament, Mark. And we're seeing it here again.
Declan McFadden dribbles for a jump shot. Nice block there by Jai Jackson.
Yeah, good timing and good angle. Understanding how to position his body properly. Lake Brantley, while they did get that last basket on the last possession, they still seem to be off their game as far as their shooting. They made the first couple of buckets, but since then they just have not shot the ball well, and there you see an air ball altogether.
Dylan Holloman is fouled on the putback attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot two. The foul is called against Patriots number 3. Julian Stewart, his third personal foul, the team's 5th.
So Timber Creek took only one free throw in their first quarter. They have now taken 4 here in the second quarter. And now they're starting to gain an advantage in the free throw shooting department as well.
White 23.
Foul called against number 23, Anthony Figueroa, his first, the team's 6th.
Elevator. Hey, Sparky. Top. Hey, elevator.
Checking in, Counterissio.
So, and by the way, Mark, Lake Brantley has participated in every Metro versus Florida challenge, 3-6 record. But I guess it's as good as it gets there as far as attendance. Powerful rebound there. Second offensive rebound.
Third chance basket by Jai Jackson.
Exactly what Lake Brantley needed there. Cut the lead to 15, and I could hear Coach Cuff yelling his team needs to get a stop, which they don't.
Dylan Holloman for 2.
So again, a stop, pop, and drop there right off the pass from one side of the court, one side of the paint to the other. Lake Brantley has just had a really hard time covering that rotation with the ball rotation with Timber Creek not defense.
21, red.
Foul called against Joshua Johnson, his first, the team's 6th. Yeah, let's go ahead and light up those bonus indicators. We got 6 on each side.
And both teams will be shooting free throws the rest of the way. 6 fouls apiece.
Ratio to Holloman for 3. Boy, talking about making something out of nothing.
Yeah, Lake Brantley sensed an opportunity to get some momentum and create a big play there. Instead, Timber Creek was able to keep control of the ball, and that let the man open in the corner. Now a turnover.
Dylan Holloman steals 2.
So again, not many turnovers. Lake Brantley only has 4. Good job of holding on to the ball, but unfortunately they've come at critical times and have impacted this game. 8 points has been scored off of those turnovers.
Declan McFadden is fouled on the floor. He'll go to the line and shoot 1-on-1. The foul is called against number 3, Devontae Gilbert, his first, the team's 7th. Checking into the game for Brantley is number 11, Sebastian Dago. Checking into the game for Brantley, Dylan Mills. Nice rebounding move there by Dylan Mills. I didn't think he was going to get that in bounds.
No, that was all out. Unfortunately, well, Brantley just not able to turn that hustle and effort into points here. So Lake Brantley gets a couple of breaks here, stopping Timber Creek.
Sparky Fabre drives the paint for a layup.
So now Lake Brantley has cut the lead back under 20. It's at 18. Chance to cut it down to 16, maybe even 15 on the turnover.
And we'll get a call here for traveling. Patriots ball.
And by the way, I believe that is the very first turnover for Timber Creek. 2 minutes left in the first half. As I mentioned, Lake Brantley's done an excellent job with the turnovers.
They're second. They had 4. 1 in the first quarter.
Okay. They've only committed 4, but unfortunately all 4 of those were very damaging. They scored, Timber Creek scored points off of all 4 turnovers.
Cameron Hall for 3.
And they are giving up 50% more turnovers because such a low amount, an even lower amount is being put up by Timber Creek.
Sparky Fabre, 3.
So, Mark, at 40-22 with a minute and a half left here, we certainly are seeing a much higher score than we have today.
Yeah, we could see scores in the 80s if we keep this up.
Oh. And again, the key has been just toward three-point field goal shooting by Timber Creek. Unfortunately, Lake Brantley, they found their stroke somewhat here in the second quarter.
Sebastian Dager gets the putback.
But you're looking at a team in Timber Creek that's shooting around 2/3, 66% compared to about 35 to Lake Brantley beyond the arc. So now with 40 seconds left, Timber Creek's going to slow it down. Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz is just simply holding the ball. Now he goes to a dribble. But nonetheless, the strategy, the plan here clearly is to hold on to the ball for as long as possible.
Control.
Offensive foul called against Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz, his second, the team's 8th. No bonus shots on offensive fouls. Returns the ball over to the Patriots. Jason Anderson into the game for Brantley.
So an opportunity here for Lake Brantley, much needed opportunity to get some points on before halftime. Get some momentum heading into halftime. Talked about it in every game, scoring before halftime, but in particular, Lake Brantley being down and suffering through that onslaught there at the beginning of the game, it's even more so important. And they get the basket, well executed, just like they need, and that's a great feeling for Lake Brantley going into halftime.
Joshua Johnson gets the last word of the first half, and that will take us to halftime with a 40-26 lead for Timber Creek in a high-scoring game as we head into the halftime here in Game 17 of the Metro versus Florida Challenge. Here are your halftime stats for this game, beginning with the Patriots. We have Joshua Johnson with that last-second basket there. That puts 2 on the board for him. Julian Stewart, 3 points, 2 rebounds. Jai Jackson, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 1 assist and 2 blocked shots. Sebastian Dager, 4 points, 2 rebounds. Declan McFadden with 4 points, 1 rebound, and leading his team for the first half is no surprise, Sparky Fabre with 9 points and 1 rebound. As for the Wolves, they've got 1 point in the books for Emilio Thomas, 2 points for Connor Racio, along with 4 rebounds and 1 assist. 6 points for Anthony Figueroa. along with a steal. And then we have 2 players in double figures. Dylan Hall and 14 points, 2 rebounds, and a steal. And Cameron Hall with 17 points and 3 rebounds leads all scorers for the first half. Again, that takes us to our halftime score. The Wolves lead the Patriots 40-26 at intermission here in game number 17. For those of you listening online, we're going to take a break for about the next 7 minutes, and then we'll be back here at Joe Sterling Gymnasium for the second half of Timber Creek versus Lake Brantley here at the 9th Annual Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by Burnfat Orlando and St. Germain Chiropractic Clinics. Welcome back to Joe Sterling Gymnasium for the second half of Game 17. Wolves leading the Patriots by 2 more points now, as that is Cameron Hall on the pass from Gilbert for the first points of the second half. Ogando not able to answer for the Patriots, but an offensive rebound to Fabre. We'll get things over to McFadden. Can't get the 3 to go, and this time it goes to Cameron Hall. Neil, this has been a game with a really good flow all day long. Although here we're going to get a steal by McFadden. A lot of scoring, a lot of ball movement, and even though the score would kind of belies that because the Patriots have been a little bit less successful on the field goal percentage, all in all, this has been a fun game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely true, Mark, and there's one of the reasons.
Julian Stewart for 3 on the pass from Isaac Ogando.
Timber Creek came out at the beginning and right away put on a 3-point shooting clinic. They got a 10-point lead. They extended it all the way to 15 and midway through the second, and of course it's now up to 14 at halftime. Really the difference, and we talked about throughout the entire quarter, was that 3-point shooting.
Ruiz Diaz to Recio for 2.
So Timber Creek's actually shooting the ball well from 2-point as well, but they were able to take that lead with the 3-point shooting. They're 6 of 13 from the from 2-point range, but 8 of 13 from 3-point range, and overall that's a percentage.
Connor Recio is fouled on the putback attempt. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against Patriots number 1, Jai Jackson. That's his first personal foul, the team's first.
So overall, Timber Creek is shooting 54% from the field, and you're going to win a lot of ball games when you're shooting 54%. Again, Lake Brantley, as we said throughout the first half, pretty much matched Timber Creek when it came to shooting inside 2-point range. Their downfall was 3-point range, only 2 of 12 and 8 of 18 at 2-point range. So you look at the difference in 3-point shoots at 6. That comes out to 18 points, and again, a 14-point lead by Timber Creek at halftime. Lake Brantley, and this is very unusual, Mark, very unusual, 16 rebounds to 6, and what's unusual is usually that translates to at least not nearly as big a deficit. Usually if you can get the rebounds, you can compensate for being at the short end of the field goal percentage.
Putback made by Jay Jackson.
So,
and an uncharacteristic turnover there. Out of bounds. Patriots ball.
And good job of keeping possession of the ball by both teams. Only 4 turnovers by Lake Brantley and 3 by Timber Creek. So not really much of a difference there. At one point it was actually 4-1 in favor of Lake Brantley, but a couple turnovers towards the end of the second half or second quarter kind of evened things up there and took away that advantage that Timber Creek had.
Illegal hands called against Cameron Hall. It's the second, the team's first this half. Nearly losing the ball to a backcourt violation. They made that a lot harder than it was.
Yeah, a lot of congestion there breaking out of those single lines.
Jay Jackson is fouled on the attempt to go to the line and shoot 2. The foul is called against number 35. Emilio Thomas, his first personal foul, the team's second.
So we talk about this often. Of course, for those of you who are not familiar with Wekiva, we are the regular broadcasters, Mark and I. And throughout the course of the basketball season, we talk about when your team gets down into deficit, you want to cut it down to 10. That's the first threshold. And then you try to cut it down to 5. Unfortunately, point left on the table there. 2 points left on the table.
Rebounds to Holloman, and the Wolves will go to work.
And Holloman with a strong rebounding there. Getting up and above the crowd, using his body the way you're supposed to. As you mentioned, Mark, at the beginning of this quarter, good flow to the game, despite the score. It has been a good flow. Both teams are very proficient at the passing game. to set up those field goals. Again, the problem is just Timber Creek has been getting a lot more open shots. What I mean by that is Lake Brantley has moved well, but they're just not quite as quick in being able to cover that ground as Timber Creek has been.
Ogando barely manages to avoid traveling as he changes his mind on the pass. Manages to get it to bounce off of Cameron Hall so that the Patriots stay in control here.
And to be honest, I think if you were to ask Lake Brantley players in some private moment with no one around, I think they've been surprised by Timber Creek's quickness here. Again, especially the ability to move side to side and across the court into the open spaces off the pass.
Timber Creek too hot on the pass to get anything going in transition, but they'll reset the play on a half-court set. And there we go. Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz, 4-3. Well, if all else fails, just shoot it from wherever you are.
Yeah, and three-point shooting continues. First taken by Timber Creek, and so they are now 9 of 14.
Answered with a 3 from Sparky Fabre.
And that does seem to be a positive for Lake Brantley as they're answering Timber Creek's three-point shooting with their own, but the problem is, unfortunately, that was not the case there for the first 6 minutes or so when that lead was built. At this point, they are down by 14 points, which is the same at halftime, so they need to get some stops here.
White 10, white 10.
Push called against number 10, Dylan Hallman, who's first, the team's third. At the line, shooting 2, Julian Stewart.
Another observation here, too, Mark. Again, this game has relied so much on outside shooting. Very little dribble drives. I'd say about 90% of the field goal attempts have been from at least 10 feet.
Two for 2 at the line, and that's doing what they need to do for the Patriots. They just need to manage to stop the Wolves. The problem is that they've not been able to get very many unanswered baskets, and so if they're not able to get a little bit of a run going here with 12-point deficit on the board and 3 minutes to go in the third, they're going to run into trouble.
And there's one of the issues, an offensive rebound. Timber Creek did a nice job of setting up underneath the basket there, getting the right position as far as where the feet were. Now again, neither team really has a tremendous advantage. As a matter of fact, Lake Brantley has a 10-4 advantage, but all 4 of those offensive rebounds have resulted in points for Timber Creek.
Isaiah Ruiz-Diaz on the pass to Anthony Figueroa, 4-3.
And there is just a perfect example of what's been happening all game. You get that offensive rebound, and you still give up points.
Sparky Fabre.
Get up! Red 3.
Fouls called against number 3, Julian Stewart, his fourth, the team's second. At the line shooting, Anthony Figueroa.
Timber Creek 6 of 7, now 7 of 9. So they also shoot the ball very well from the free throw line.
Box. Pitch, Dylan, pitch. Sparky, 15, go quick. Go. 15, shoot the basket quick.
A break there for Lake Brantley. If they could turn it into points here, opportunity to cut into that lead again. So now, Mark, we reached the point where that, only 5 turnovers by Lake Brantley, but unfortunately when you're down by 14 and you only got 9.5 minutes left, each of those turnovers is very lethal to your efforts.
So again, a lot of good flow, although no baskets falling. Mills for 3, can't get anything done there. Rebound to Gilbert. Trap nearly pins the Wolves into the half-court line, but they get out of it. Less than a minute to go here in the third.
So important possession here at the end of the third quarter. Timber Creek, of course, they'd like to score, but I'd say this is more important just to be able to get out of this quarter without leaving the door open for Lake Brantley. Continue to maintain and sustain your not just lead, but the play which has allowed that lead to be taken. They've answered every basket that Lake Brantley has made here, as we're now down to 7, and there we go. The attempt and a nice, easy layup.
Dylan Holloman on the Wolves layup. And that will be the last word of the third period. 54-38 is the score, with 8 minutes left to play here in Game 17 of the 9th Annual Metro versus Florida Challenge, presented by Burn Fat Orlando and St. Germain Chiropractic Clinics. We'll take this opportunity to thank a few more of our partners who helped to make this amazing 20-game showcase possible, including Baptiste Orthodontics. They already had 2 offices in Central Florida. Now they have 3. They just celebrated the grand opening of a beautiful new office just across the street from Kitland Nelson Park, right here in the heart of Apopka, 12 South Park Avenue. More convenient than ever for our Apopka residents. And again, they also have offices on Colonial Drive and Conroy Windermere Road. They have everything from the most traditional braces to some of the newest innovations like Invisalign, ceramics, and ClearCorrect. And quality braces can be yours starting at $129 a month. But before you even get that far, schedule your free consultation today. It costs absolutely nothing to get started with a free x-ray and no down payment. Baptiste Orthodontics, 1-800-300-7755. That's 1-800-300-7755. Patriots have the opening possession of the fourth quarter.
So again, that was just a devastating play there, that layup ending the third quarter to the Patriots, and that's about as big of a boost as Timber Creek could get.
Declan McFadden for 3.
And again, nothing has changed here throughout the game, especially looking at Timber Creek's play. They remain at 50%. 19 of 37 from the field, so actually a little bit better than 50%. Rebounds are now 24 each. Unfortunately, Lake Brantley has only shot 14 of 43. As we mentioned, they've been around 50% too from 2-point range. That actually did drop a little bit as well, 10 of 26 now. But the real problem for Lake Brantley, and you just saw it there yet again, 4 of 17 from 3-point range. So hard enough to keep up with the team when you're at a 50 to about 22% deficit, but then you add the 2-point field goal dropping just a slight bit. Neither team has turned the ball over very much, only 6 for Timber Creek and 5 for Lake Brantley. But again, when you're down by double digits, and you've been down by double digits for almost the entire game, every turnover is magnified.
It's either a charge or a block, one or the other. One or the other.
Jumper from the baseline by Cameron Hall.
So 11 of 20 now for Timber Creek.
No basket. Offensive charge is called against Declan McFadden.
So
That's his first personal foul, the team's third.
So, again, made a mistake there on that last basket. That was a two-pointer, not a three-pointer. And now Timber Creek is 10 of 19 from both 2 and 3-point range. And, again, this lead has remained between about 10 and 15 throughout the game.
Cameron Hall picks up 3 for the Wolves.
And with 5:47 left, Timber Creek now has broken past that 15-point barrier. It's 18 points, the largest of the ball game. And Lake Brantley continues to have trouble shooting, and as I mentioned, the field goal percentage did drop there in the third quarter. Not tremendously, but it is now on a downward trend, and that has continued here into the fourth quarter. And time is running short if Brantley is going to make any headway or any challenge to the victory.
Push is called against number 22. Michael Brown is third, the team's fourth.
So free throws have not really been a factor, Mark. Lake Brantley 6 of 8, Timber Creek 6 of 9. Both have shot the ball fairly well, but there just haven't been a lot of free throw attempts.
Julian Belter gets the basket and a chance to make it a three-point play. The foul is called against number 5, Connor Rocio. That's his second personal foul, the team's fifth.
So if this free throw is good here, that does put Lake Brantley back to a 15-point lead. Pretty much where they started from a couple of possessions ago. And I am a little surprised here that Lake Brantley's not going to some type of pressure defense at least 3 quarters.
Out of bounds, Patriots ball, and good work there by Declan McFadden making that happen.
Yeah, very athletic and showing it off there, getting in the right position there, cutting off the angle. Still a long way to go, even with that basket.
Sparky Fabre to Julian Stewart, and we'll pause here for a Brantley timeout. 30-second timeout is requested by the Patriots. And we'll take this opportunity to thank our friends at Elevate Orlando, a civic nonprofit focused on helping students to grow in strength of character and application of essential life skills. They are both inside and outside the classroom. They have a partnership with OCPS to offer an accredited elective course, and their employees are able to spend more than 50% of their time outside of school mentoring students. They've got a 98% graduation rate and 96% post-secondary placement rate with their 1,550 students. Check out Elevate Orlando to help your students succeed. In trouble, and they have to give it away. And then the Patriots return the favor immediately. Good inside pass, and it's going to be Rocio to Figueroa.
So again, the lead keeps varying. As many as 19 and as little as 11, but is yet to get under 10.
Rocio dives for the rebound and then calls timeout. It'll be a 30-second timeout requested by Timber Creek. And for those of you who haven't had a chance to pick up a program for today's event, they are available at the admission table for just $1. It actually costs us more than $1 to print them, but we want to make sure everybody who wants one can get one. It has team capsules for all 39 schools participating in the Metro versus Florida Challenge. You'll get the season outlooks, the rosters, the team information, and the complete schedule for the event. We still have another 3 games to take care of tonight. We have the Ocoee Knights taking on the Mariner Tritons coming up at 5 o'clock. Windermere takes on CFCA at 6:30, and then we'll finish up tonight with Winter Park versus the First Academy at 8.
there. Right there. Go ahead. Good.
And now Lake Brantley is going to pressing. They're trying to trap in the corners. Good job, though, by Timber Creek. They're not letting themselves be distracted. Oh!
Cameron Hall for 3. And he was way downtown for that. That would have been a 3 in the NBA.
Yeah, he was a good 5 feet behind the arc, but he was wide open. I mean, there was nobody within him about 10 feet, and that's a tribute to the passing of the Wolves. Mentioned it several times throughout the game. The Wolves do move the ball at a fairly quicker than usual pace, but they're also very patient. They wait for that right shot, and even though you were 5 feet behind, that was the right shot in the openness.
Second chance basket scored by Michael Brown. Fouls called against number 23, Anthony Figueroa, his second, the team's 6th.
Cross. Brandon, get the bonus.
Push is called against number 23, Anthony Figueroa. That's now his 3rd personal foul, the team's 7th. Gammy Lopez checks into the game for the Patriots, and at the line shooting 1-on-1 bonus will be Isaac Ogando.
And the Patriots will be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Timber Creek has committed 7 fouls.
Joe Valentine in for the Patriots.
2 of 2 at the free throw line. That is a start. And Lake Brantley is actually now 9 of 11 from the free throw line. Unfortunately, again, not much of an advantage here. And I guess Lake Brantley has just decided to call it a day. They're not really pressing or coming out here on Timber Creek, who's just dribbling the ball. Now we get some action.
Yeah, the Wolves seem content to play keep away, and Brantley seems content to let them do it.
Yes, thank you. It's been a long 4 days, Mark. Words come hard to find these right now. So as the clock ticks under 2 minutes, and pretty much it looks like we're going to have a final score of what's on the board here, maybe just a couple points. Game started off like so many of our other games here. One of the teams taking a big lead, getting over double digits. It was built up to 15. It was 14 by halftime, and got up to 16 in the fourth quarter.
30-second timeout requested by the Wolves. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we've got 3 more games of basketball action coming your way. Up next, we have the Ocoee Knights taking on the Mariner Tritons, perhaps our farthest traveling team in this Metro versus Florida Challenge, all the way from Cape Coral, Florida. They'll be coming up next. We've got the Knights, the district runners-up from last year, who have a lot of key players returning. And then we have the Tritons, who made it to the regional finals last season and have suffered some transfers and injuries since then.
So a big lead taken by Timber Creek as we got a minute and a half. That lead was up to 14 at halftime, 16. And again, it was based on three-point field goal shooting. 3 of 5 after the first quarter, 6 of 9 at halftime, 10 of 19 in the third quarter. And but 2-point field goal shooting has been just as impressive, 9 of 18. So 50% total for both.
Julian Belter steals the basket.
And Lake Brantley never really had a chance by the time they were able to catch their breath and really get into the game, feel any type of being in the game.
Zara and Skinner.
They were down by over double digits. One other note here, Timber Creek did come in ranked 20th in the Orlando Sentinel rankings, while Lake Brantley was ranked 14th. So don't be surprised if the next ranking, I mean, very definitive, very impressive and complete victory here by Timber Creek. They could overtake the Patriots in those rankings. Timber Creek also ranked number 21 in Class 9A according to Max Prep. Lake Brantley was 42.
For 2 at the line for Zerone Skinner.
So again, both teams got a lot of shot, as you mentioned, Mark. Good flow to this game, but really the difference why Timber Creek was able to shoot 50% was they had much better open shots, and we saw that in their last three-pointer, even though the shot was taken about 7 feet behind the arc.
Belter to Klinger.
The shot. The shot was taken about 7 feet behind the arc, good enough for the NBA range, but there was nobody within 10 feet to get a hand in his face. And that was pretty much the summary of the ball game.
No baskets. The ball touched the backboard equipment on the way out. That is effectively out of bounds.
And I guess we can say here, as the last 15 seconds tick off, Mark, that was really an epitome of tonight's game. Lake Brantley hitting the backboard, the ball actually going into the basket, but it was out of play at that point, taking a really bad bounce.
Third time's a charm for Emilio Thomas, and that will take us to the end of the ball game with a 70-52 final score here in Game 17 of the Metro versus Florida Challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming out to Joe Sterling Gymnasium or for joining us virtually on our YouTube channel, Metro versus Florida Challenge. We've got plenty more basketball coming your way. 3 more games, in fact. Ocoee takes on Mariner next, and that will start in about 20 minutes here at Joe Sterling Gymnasium. We'll see you then. For those of you listening to our online webcast, please be aware that each of the games is its own separate event on YouTube, so you will need to exit this stream and get into the next one. Just a moment before 5 o'clock, we'll be getting started.